Today I'm gonna make a recap about the CSS. So first, the CSS is like the way that we're gonna style for our website with the layout from HTML elements, and there are two types of apply CSS to the HTML element. As you see here, the first one is like the inline style, which means like we're gonna define it directly into the element right here. For example, for this task I can apply the color for this one. For example, the H1 task right here, if I want to apply the style, for example, like change the color for this one. Right now it's the color is black, but all I want is change the color of it. I can change it by using the style property, color to red, for example. As you see, it's gonna change it to the red color. This is like in style, and to inline styling for HTML element. And the second style is using the internal style tag. As you see here, for this to apply the CSS inside the HTML, we can use this uh, this um, this tag. And for the earlier, I already defined some property that I set the border for the table, so it's easy to display this thing. And for example, right now I want to change like the color for A2 to like the blue. I can do it by using the A2. And right now I change the color for the task element. So right now I not get any like the class for the element, so I just want to focus for all of the H1. So if for this AML page, if it have like 4 or 5 or many H1 tasks, it's gonna select for all of them. If I want to provide like the custom style for the task, I can provide for the class, so that, and then I use the class right here. For example, for the H2, I can declare it as the class of the header 2, for example. So to focus on the class, we push the dot in front of the name of the class name, add the 2, and then we can put the style right here. For example, I want to set the color to there are different ways to set the color. For example, I want it to blue and save it. As you see here, it's going to change it to blue. So I provide the class so that I can provide like the custom one, because like if I have like multiple H2, and for someone that I just want to have like the custom color, so this not likely to all of them, so I provide the class, so it's easy for me to provide the custom for the target element. And then another way, but it's not like the best way to manage the CSS file. We are recommendedly to store the CSS style in another file, so that we can manage it easily. This is an external way in which we're gonna create another file which name is style CSS, and then we provide the style in this. For example, in this case, I'm gonna copy this style and I remove this one, and transfer the style into the new file. Oh, this is script file, it must be in the style file. And then another style, let's see, the A1 color, so I can put this A1 color dot red, right? And I can export the file into a HTML file by this header to include in the header. As right here, I include like the link of the CSS. Right here, I can, and as I mentioned earlier, in the HTML, the head tag is where we're gonna store like the metadata. We're gonna store like how it's gonna encode our code. Right here, UTF-8. This is and the title and kind of things. So if we want to export the um, we want to import the CSS file or custom file, we can include by using like the link task and with we're gonna push like the name file of it. Okay, it's gonna file for this file because it's in the same folder right now, so we don't need to provide like explicitly path. So for example, if I create like another folder, um, new new where is the folder directory like style file, and I push this file into this one. As you see here, all of this is removed because this file is cannot find. So to looking for this file, I need to explicitly find the file and to find where it is. So right now I use like the slash and two dots right here. The two dots will mean like it's gonna go outside the folder and oh, it's not like go into this folder. Yeah, right. I need to explicitly tell like where the path of the files. So because I put in this folder, so I put it right like this way. So it's the way to understand the structure of the program. And then this is the way to disclose the CSS file, and there's some kind of property. So this is like the element task selector. So this is like the selector um, in the CSS. As I mentioned earlier, I already tell several ways. The first is like the tab name, like the H1. This is like the define the element in HTML. And the second way is declare the class name for the element, and then we target to this element by this, and we can use the ID. Right, so here this is like the way we this is like the two way I already mentioned, and the third way is using an ID. To display an ID is similar to using the class, in which we're gonna using the keyword class and then give the unit name for this element. So for example, for this table, I give like the ID for it. But normally when we style for the element using the CSS, we're not using the ID. We mostly using the class because it's called a better practice. Um, because for an ID for each element, it must to have like the unique ID, and for the class, we want to reduce our style. For example, we want to style two elements with the same property. We can group them into one class, CSS class, and then we just push this class into tstat. So it's going to give the style for tstat rather than an ID because it's a unit. So I cannot pass this ID to another one. It's going to be the error. For example, for this, I create another table and give an ID. I think it's going to be an error. No error. So why it's not have any error? I'm gonna try. Oh, why? Oh, there is some misunderstanding about. So I'm looking for the CSS file. Why we start the CSS file with the class not ID? The class are reusable, but ID is the unique. This is all I understanding. Yeah. This is the point ID are unique, and it's probably to just provide like the unique ID for the element. Even as I try, it's still valid, but this is not like the best way to give like an ID and then we start reviewing things. It's a better way to use in the class. Okay. where is the rescat element decision. Well, for example, we can target to like the tyrant of the parent class element is like the decision way. um, I wanna tells the class to give me an example. Alright, okay, current key. First it's gonna target into this class and then it's go into the try of this and give the color for this one. This is the example of decision selector and to the right selector. Only the first B will be red and another ones will be not affected. Okay, I got it. Okay, for example, for this table, if I want to get another color for the table, and as you see here, this table is can imagine this outside is like the parent and the inside is like the children. For example, I want to target for this th class, and I want to um, give like the color for the text inside of it. So I can do it by because I just want to give the custom for this um, this table. So I'm gonna give the class for this table though, data table, and then I'm gonna come to the CSS file. I'm gonna remove this bracket because this one is redundant, and the purpose for this one is just be showcase like the structure of the project. The table, and to target for the TR like the sales of the table, we use the system of spray and like the children, right? TA. No, this one is not like TA. TA is like the header for the table, but I want I want to like the color for the hmm, I want a table for like the header. So I'm gonna deep like the text color for this. Oh no, it's gonna trans. Why it's not trans this color of this one? I'm gonna add the charge. Okay, your course with semicolon. Oh, I have like the column with like the syntax. Hmm? Oh, maybe I should put this. Oh though. I don't think it's like the right way, and there the table. Why it's not changing anything? Why it's not updated? There's some problems. Let's see which this problem though. It's gonna target to this class and it's going to like the element of this. But I'm going to give like the different name for the ID and the class to prevent the error if it's possible. Yes, I using the right class, but maybe I do it wrong in some way. Why is not change anything still? Oh, this one also appear with no like the border. Hmm. Oh, this one is not possible though. You see, and right now I noticed that even for this tag, it's also not apply anything. So for example, if I push it into like the strip tag, why it's gonna work though? Right? When I put it into like the style tag, it's gonna ask the like the property in this one, but why it could possible? But I'm gonna try with another property when using this one. It's not work. Right, this one is not work. It's a direct try. For example, if I yeah, it's just the only one try. Cannot slide the train or the element like this way. It's not work though. but why I gonna ask like that? Why when I using the style tag? Oh, I think yeah, I see because I translate the photos like this. So this is the reasons why it's not as a style because it's not looking for this file. Oh, I see. Well, now it's gonna add like the property and then all about like the pseudo class, hover, and the first try and tries. So first I gonna come with like the hover, for example, like when I hover to this the property when on mouse, like the pointer gonna hover to this element, it's gonna change the change the style of this element. For example, right now I want to change this color to blue. For example, when I move my my point my cursor into this tab, for example. So basically I gonna write like the tab name and hover color to blue and the set right. When I move my hover my point to this element tag, it's gonna change the color. But right now you see when I hover it's gonna change it immediately. It's not like smooth way. So if I want to change the color slowly, I can add it by using like the transition duration tag as a property with like 0.5 seconds. Right, you see it's gonna like change the color slowly, smoothly. This is all I want, and I can change this opacity. Oh, what does it mean? I actually don't understand this thing. Oh, so give us a law. I got how to use the opacity tag in CSS. Okay, you just give the value. Basically, I offer here the value, but why it sets me with like the list of another property. This is the this where this happened. I gonna take the screenshot and add it. What what is this tag? Revert to private default opacity inherit. Or this would be like the property. Okay. Mm. But for example, I just want to have like 0.5, like the half 50%. You see, it's gonna change the color. It's gonna be more and more. You're gonna see like through the background because this brown is like the white, so you can see this tag is more white. This is the function of opacity, but in this case, it's not have something, you know, pop shadow right down. This is like the pop shadow. So let's see. I'm gonna leave it later for the top model. Right now, I wanna focus on like the first try and the end try. I'm gonna passes into like the chart and see the example. Honestly, I never use this one. I just use like the hover, and for this task is still new to me. So once it gives me the example, hover. Okay, I already understand for the hovers. The first try we want to target for the first try of the parent. Oh, so what is the difference? What is the different? Oh, it's gonna focus on like the one try. Yeah, rather than like the whole children of like the the, the parent. It just focus on the first one. Okay, or okay, targets the end children, like which is like the children is gonna be focused. Okay. Right. For normally, if we use like the distance way, it's gonna like target for all of the children. For example, for this another list, it's gonna have like a three element. I gonna test it because I also have like the list in my index HTML right here. Right, I already have like the list of 5 elements. So if uh, I use like the children this way, the distance way, for example, I want to give like the task name for it first. Honestly, I don't need to give like the class name for this one. I just focus. I can use like the tag directly, but I think it's like the best way to best practice to give the class name list. Okay. So in this, I gonna focus. The selector is the list, and then the children is the list element. I'm gonna change the color to pink, for example. Why is it not changed? List, and I choose the list task. But why is not changed? Basically this is all my expectation. It's gonna like change the color of the children. Or why not it change? Why is good possible though? Why not it's already changed its color? Holy moly. And then what you see here is gonna take it for all the children, but or I want to just like focus on the first one. For example, I can use by pseudocode. Right, the first try. Oh, I can use like the difference property. Otherwise, why nothing is did not happen? The syntax is right and not. I think there's something wrong with like the syntax. It just need to like one. The syntax is like we still specific like which element is going to be focused or not going to be target, right? We're going to target for the lead elements for this list, so we still put it like the line. So yeah, I see. So about another syntax. Pseudo class, and then ntr. But I want to try another things like the first letter, right? This one gonna change it blink. to pink. So what happen if I increase like the length for the element? For example, right now I want to number one, number one. Oh, it still change like the whole of them. What is the difference between like the first letter? The first letter of the first line of the block container. R. So it's gonna like apply to like the whole line of this. Okay. So what happens if I have like the first line? Where is my index? Or it's still like the one line inside like the line block. So it's gonna target for all of this. Okay. Let's see. Pursue course add the content before the element. Hmm. Pursue element. Let you start the part elements like added content or starting the first letter. Okay. I'm gonna ask this one. Like to see like what is like the behavior. Oh, it's gonna ask like this. For the paragraph, this one is like just paragraph. So it's gonna ask like the content. We're gonna ask the content and the color. Why this one? Why we choose the color is green. The test right now it becomes the green, and we change like the size of the test. Test dot style underline. We can use like the dot underline. Why no things happened? Anyway, this is the law. Before and after, I think if I change the after, it's gonna target for to be high. Yeah, this is all about the pseudo course for the class element. The element we use like the different like we use like the two double dot right here. This one for the pseudo class we use like use only one. Okay, then this is all about the content parse model. Okay, first is about the content, the parting, the border, and the margin. Okay, so for example for this, I gonna consider for this one. For example, first I want to make like this paragraph wanna be in the middle. I can add this by using like the header one, and right here I wanna be justify contain justify no. What is the syntax for horizontally justify content. How to make it like the center test align sensor. Yeah. is property that I want, and then for the padding, for example for this the header tool I gonna have like I want to make it like not in this position, but it's gonna give like a little bit like the space right here. I can do it. But I think it's easier way to set the this one is A2, right? So we can set what this one header 2 right here. I already give it a name, and you can give it's like the background color to 0 to easy to illustrate. Right here you see it's already give me like the first I gonna using like the padding. The padding like the space between the element inside this block. You see here, this block gonna be like the block property, so it's gonna occupy for the whole light. So if I want to sense like the little bit margins in front of this keyword, I can do it by using like the padding left. I can target which way I want. So right now I want to set like the left, and I want to like 10 pixel. So you can see this one gonna move, right? You see it's moved a little bit. So this is the way to add the padding. And the difference between the padding and the margin is that, for example, I set the margin for the right, right? The margin for the right, I want to set it to the right. For example, like 15 pixel. What we are expecting that it's gonna move this color, right? It's for the block, the whole block gonna move. Gonna you see here, this like losing like the uh, 15 pixel. This also have the space right here. So this is like the property of the machine and padding. For the padding, we set the position inside the block, and for the machines, we set the position outside of this block. And then for the border, we can set for the border of this one. Right now, the border is none, but if we want to have like the border for this block, we can use actually here, as you see here, this is like the font weight pole. As I mentioned in like the HTML, we can use in like the strong task to make the task to be the strong, but we can do it with like the HTML using this font weight pole. This is the best way to style or paragraph and or text in the website. For example, right now you don't see any difference because it's already the pole because it's a header. So if, for example, if I target uh, for the page right now is not have any style. You see here this word after of this stripe is become pole right now. Right, so right now it's removed, it's not pro anytime more. So for example, I just give it like the pro right now, and then it's all about the border, right? For example, I want to set the border, right? I can choose which one, like the bottom, the top, the left, and the right. But right now I want to give like the border for all of the block, so I just give it here. Choose the color, right? We can give it like the blue color, solid, and we need to set it like to become a solid, and it's 1 pixel. Like the weight of this border, for example, I want to have like 2 pixel. Right, you see, it's gonna set the border for this element. Okay, and the machines I already mentioned, border parse. What is the border parse? Oh, I think it's don't have this color property, and then I got this come up with like the okay, the color parts color I already mentioned, the part color I also mentioned too, and then and then I gonna talk about this for a little bit about the font size, for example, in the font weight. So first I gonna take it to this paragraph. So Alright, so right now there is no style for this paragraph. For example, I want to increase the size for this one to like 16 pixels. Right, you can see it increase the size of this paragraph. So right now, for example, you keep it like 20 right now. This is the font size and then the font family. Font family. Or there are some default one that's already there. For example, the arrow. Right, it's gonna change like the font family for it, and we can give like multiple term. For example, if the first one is face error, it's gonna load the alternative one, which is like the behind of the first one, and we can choose or we can as I mentioned in the like the index, we have like the head, right, in which we can give like the link, like the export link and the metadata. So if we want to export like the custom the font size, we can do it by the link, and then we can export it from the Google font. For example, we want to have like this font. Right, it's gonna give us like this. Where the paragraph, they at this one I can give the style for it. I don't know what's the name of this font. Through here we can change like the way and the style of this one. Oh, we can export it like the CSS class. We can import it like this. Okay. I don't know whether this is like the name of this. Yeah, this definitely is wrong. Wait. Oh, what is the name of this one? I already forgot this. Android the web. We can embed it in HTML, but I think it's the better way to separate into like this S way. We can do it by import this link. Okay. Oh, something's wrong with this thing though. want to add a chart. How do you use okay, I want to target it directly in the like HTML file, so okay, it's already have there. Okay, it's already applied right now. This is like the way that we can import like the fonts from the Google. We can do is like give the link directly in like the head, or we can push it into the style CSS. Okay, I see, I see. I want to try another font. Where is this though? Yeah. It's gonna change the style. It's already imported there. I just try to test like whether this font I import is properly or is already font existing in like the CSS. Okay, like the way to import like the font way. Okay, I already there is like the web height and smart width. Okay, this like define like the size of this one. For example, for this power this paragraph, for example for this image right here, I want to change like the size of this, so I can tag it to this image. Where is this image exist? Okay, at this one, and I'm gonna tag it to the parent of this one. I'm gonna give like the class name for this link one. And then no, this is not what I want. I'm gonna set like the web high and smart web. You see it's gonna change like for this one, the image. Okay, it's gonna change like the size for this one. And then about the point in images already tells and the border radius. This is like the border radius property. For example, for this border radius, I give it like the 5 pixel. You see it's gonna have like the curves right here. That we're gonna set the radius for the corner of this part and then there's a line high. What is line high? Oh, I still don't know like what's the meaning of the line high. What's for the test attachment, test alignment, justify. And start. Okay. Line high. What's it about the line high property? To avoid the course space between the line of the test. Okay. Okay, it's gonna set like the height of this block. For example, I want to increase like the height of this. One by five. Right, it's increase a little bit, right? So if I increase like 100 pixel, it's gonna increase like the line height of this element. Okay, okay, I see. 1.5 is great to me. Okay. Display and visibility. Okay, I'm gonna set the example of these two. Plug and line flash. This is like the property that I mentioned earlier, like plug and inline. Plug is gonna occupy like the whole space, for inline only occupy as necessary. Flag and grid. Oh, this is like the way you're gonna lay out an element, flag and grid. So first I'm gonna try with like the flash, the grid, because the first two I already mentioned about the plug and inline. For example, which is this one? No, there's nothing that I can. Okay, for example, I scroll another base one. Right, hello. It's gonna start a new line, right? But if I want to take it in like the same line, I can do it by take it into the inline property. I can display it in like you see here it's gonna be in the same line, because by default I want to perform like the clock behavior, but if I want to change its internal behavior by using the display task right here, but this is not something that I want. So I'm gonna remove it. I just want to showcase about this behavior. And for the flex and script is like the way that we're gonna lay out for the one website. I'm gonna test like example of one website, monkey type for example. As you see here, for this task, honestly, it's not like the well demonstrated. So okay, for example, for this navigation part on the top, right? Uh, as you see, it's gonna be laid out in like one line, and we can imagine that it is uh, the one line vertically. So we can lay out it first. We can divide it like first into like one 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 part of like three elements. The first one gonna display for the logo and this one, and the last gonna display this open Discord, and the center one gonna contain like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 9. It's only 9 this navigation part. So how to demonstrate it? I'm gonna create new file. Alright, I just give the meaning for this one. So I'm gonna push all the sections of the navigation bar on the top like this way, and it's gonna have like 1 2 3 part, right? So the first one I'm gonna give it all to become like the button. Div one, now one for the logo. In which we're gonna have like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Download, nitro, discover, safety, quest and support. Plug, developer, career, and another part for like the open Discord. You see here right now it don't have any layout, so it's the display is horizontally, this vertically. So this is something that we really don't want. We want to display it like the vertical horizontally. So first, all we define that it's gonna have like the three main layout right here. The first part gonna display this one, and the second gonna display this, and the third gonna display this one. So we can use like the flash behavior right here. Our grid is very up to us because it have like the physics side. So it's a display. It's gonna flow to the page. So I'm gonna do it. Okay. For the session, I'm gonna name it like the top bar. Okay, new style file, so type 2 CSS. Style 2, right? For the first top part, I'm gonna display it into like a flash. row, the resonance is row. This one is unnecessary. You see here, it's gonna like display it in like two main part right here, but for the second one right now, it's still not like best. So middle. Okay, we can like add like class like this. Oh, why something's wrong? Why it's not open property? You do something silly here. This one is like the first element, the second element, the third one. But why it's not happen? I wanna add like the chart. Why is there something wrong? It's not so good because it's still. Oh, I see. We need to like two dot because it's like two different class. Okay, I can add like the gap between term, but why term not is like the one line? Maybe because this one is too long. No, this one is not too long. What's happened? Yeah, I should use it like the nav. Hmm. Div. Okay, the best practice to use like the div or span. Okay, for inner item. Why is still not in line one line? Need just reference first. Oh, because it's gonna perform. Form it say it's gonna perform like the block property. Even I already have like the top bar at the flash, which means like the element inside is gonna be like the vertically or horizontally. But for the download initial for the download part, this was the div is also perform. Justify contains spray between line item center, top part, this one display at the flash, and then justify content to be spray between. This one have to spray between the element, the same spray, and allow item to be center. Nothing different. The protein is like 10 pixel. For it's e like for the x and for the y. Okay, I got it though. Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, I already like try some line of code that's gonna be modified for the navigation part. It's with this. I wanna explain about for this part. I want to get for the deep in like the middle part, and then I got the protein, the powder, and the right here that I set it into like transparent, which means that it's not displayed yet. So only when I hover to it, it's gonna display the powder. And here I set like for the hover's behavior. This one is not necessary. I don't need to set this one. Transparent, which means like transparent, which means like there's no, it's not appear, but I already set the powder. It's already set the space, so that's when I hover to it. It's not like add in the space for this button, but just display for the hover effect. And for this part, I tag it to like the try the second, because I separate into like um, three parts. So for the last one, it's the as the location of the try of three for the top part, and I tag it for the navigation. This, and then I add like the border, the background color for this. So this is all the thing about this.